Mark here from Out Office Camping, and I'm with my longtime good friend Mike Heine.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Mike's from Maryland, and we're going to do a quick walk-around tour of his Volkswagen camper, one of the smallest campers that's been built, and not to mention, it's got a pop top, which is pretty awesome. So Mike, let's get into it. So let's get started. So Mike, tell me a little bit about your vehicle here, what year and...
This is an 84 Volkswagen Vanagon Westfalia Camper.
Okay, cool. And how long have you had this?
I've had this is our 4th year at this event, so I think it's 5 years now.
Wow. What you've always been into VW since I've known you. That's always been your thing. What drove you to kind of go this direction with the Volkswagen camper?
Well, the story is my wife wanted to see the Midwest, and my buddy in Phoenix had this same type of camper, and he says, here's the keys, you can use it. So
wow.
We went out for 9 days out in the desert, and we were hooked, and I says, we got to get one. This is the way to travel.
That's so awesome. Why don't you go ahead and give me a tour of what you have here?
So, visiting Phoenix, you see rust-free cars, and you've learned the body is the most expensive thing to restore on a car. So why not find a rust-free car and then do the mechanicals? Because it's cheaper.
Right.
And what you see is what you get. There's nothing hiding behind that paint. It's original paint.
Nice.
So we found this one in Virginia, and she was in pretty good shape. She had good bones, original paint on her. So this is the one we purchased. And since then, I've done some upgrades to her, but I do like to keep her looking original. And beauty of these things is the engine's in the rear.
Okay.
So you have either this turns into a back seat or folds into a full bed, and up above you even have a bigger bed.
Wow. Let me poke my head in here and check this out. So what model is this actually? You mentioned there was a lot of different models of the different buses.
This is a Westfalia. So what Volkswagen did is they imported new Vanagons specifically to the Westfalia factory to be converted into campers to be sold at the Volkswagen dealers. This is a joint venture between Volkswagen and Westfalia, and I think to this day they're still doing it.
Wow.
The hole in the roof was made specifically to accept the pop top, so that Westfalia could continue the assembly.
And so basically that's like a rooftop tent space up there, correct?
That's
I mean,
right. It folds down and makes a nice double bed up there. This is an aftermarket canvas tent that has windows on the side. The original ones did not have it. The roof liner material I put on there because original material called flocking disintegrated over the years, and this was a cleaner look and needed to be redone.
Did they all come with the sunroof?
The early ones did not have the sunroof, and the later ones had them. Some people love them, some people hate them.
Wow. So, let me go ahead and step back out here. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your inside now that you're in here.
So the interior of this is mostly original. This bed folds down, turns into a bed, or has 2 seats in here normally. This table that's up front lives here and is above here, and there's some storage in here, and this is the closet for linens. And back there is more like another storage area, and I mostly keep some tools in there and things we don't use too much. This is the original setup, where I have a 2-burner and a sink, and this is just storage, but it's been a little bit modified, so I have more room to put things in.
Okay.
And I got a battery charger up there it never came with. You got the drawer for cutlery, and this is where the original fridge goes. But this fridge has been converted to be completely electric. The original frigs were propane fridges that run on propane, shore power, or battery power, and neither one of them did it very well because it's just too hot in our climates. And this is a true 12-volt fridge called a truck fridge, and it's got a real freezer, and boy, it's nice to have ice cream in these hot days. And this has been fitted in there to fit behind the original door because I like the look of the original door.
And right now you're not using, you have solar systems that you've installed on many other vans, but you have not what's that saying with the cobbler shoes and so on and so forth?
My solar is online, charging my battery through a red arc DC-DC converter underneath the seat.
Okay.
And I have a second battery. I can unplug this and run this vehicle for a certain amount of time. I just have not installed the lithium battery in the hole where it will go.
Gotcha.
It's just a matter of getting the time to completing my lithium battery, which I'm building from scratch, and putting it in that hole.
Nice. Also, tell me a little bit about your seats here in the...
So these seats came from a model called the Eurovan, which after the Vanagon was done in 1990, they came out with a Eurovan to replace it. And the Eurovan had the same seat rails, and these seats are far more comfortable with the armrests, and it's almost a bolt-in thing. Well, slide-in, because they slide on the seats, and the original seats rotate around like we have our so-called sofa here, and it just makes a lot of space.
Nice. Another thing you had mentioned is that you had taken the time to upgrade all your electrical system from a 15 amp to a 30 amp.
Yep, this vehicle is 30 amp now. On hindsight, I really didn't need to go up, but I did that because I have they call them portable air conditionings with the hose that goes to the window, and we sit that in the front of the van on hot days and run it through the vent window to keep us cool when it's really hot. When it's a colder climate, we just leave it at home. So I had that. My fridge works off AC and DC. I have a battery charger in there, and also the outlets have been upgraded in here.
And now what about heat?
Heat has not been addressed yet, but I've already purchased a so-called Chinese heater.
Right.
And it's going to go in here, and that's going to run off 12 volt and a little diesel tank, so we can stay snug in the winter.
Excellent. And then the last two things for systems, what about showers and then bathrooms?
We have an orange bucket that's really good. And for showers, we have a river there, or you shower at a place. That has not been addressed, and I don't think that will, other than pour a bucket over your head. It's not something that can be fit in this type of space, even though you will see at another video a big black bar that mounts on the side that's a solar heater that you can shower from that.
Sure. Well, listen, thank you so much for showing us the van. While we're here, could you just do a quick little walk around with your outdoor kitchen setup and how you're using some of your outdoor space? And while you're doing that, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what your day-to-day, livelihood is with your work. So, Mike, I see you're enjoying the outdoors here with your outdoor cooking, living the lifestyle. So
Yep.
what do you have here? What's your setup?
Well, I got Pop's old stove, which still works fine and works fine for us.
Nice.
And another camper friend of mine, he had one of these Coleman units, and I was like, it's so simple, it makes sense. I think it was about 80 bucks. We bought it, and it's a great little setup for camping outside. It all folds up into this little tiny so-called suitcase.
Nice. A couple other things you had mentioned were on your van you have the shade.
Yeah, like today we have a true pop-up tent or expo tent.
Okay.
Because we have one for my wife's events.
Okay.
And we decided to bring it with us, but normally I have what's called a Shady Boy, which is made in Canada. It all packs up in that little box and spreads from the front of the vehicle to the back of the vehicle, and probably about 8 foot out. And I just like it because it's a simple unit and there's really no moving parts in it.
Nice.
But what I found is you're normally going to cook outside because it's too hot to heat up the inside of your camper. I have on rare occasions cooked inside, but outdoor camping is what it's about.
Yeah.
And of course we got the fire pit there for the burgers sometimes, or there'll be hot dogs with chili tonight.
Darn it. Wish I was staying.
Always invited.
And one of the things you had mentioned that you really love about, the van is just the community that comes along with it.
Sure.
Can you just talk about that briefly?
This event we're at here, we're probably going to see about 60 vans here. This is the 11th year this event is being run. And I also run an event in Maryland, which is in November in Brunswick, Maryland. And we hope Mark's going to come down and see us.
And can you just tell us this year, which is 2021, and that's going to be held November 14th?
Correct.
And where do you, what's it called, and where's that going to be held?
I belong to Maryland Vanagon Connection on Facebook.
Okay.
And there will be a listing in there for Volkswagens campers to come down and join us. Last year we only expected to have maybe 10. It was our first year. We had 32.
Excellent. I'll put that information in the description and links for that event.
Yeah.
And this is your second year for that. And are other campers or people invited, or is there only limited space?
It's open inviting for people with Volkswagen campers of all different types of Volkswagens.
Darn it. So my Expedition Overland camper can't show up because it's too big?
We'll talk about it, Mark.
Alrighty. Well, Mike, thank you again for your time. Just in closing, just tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, what is your day-to-day job?
I used to be an automotive mechanic for 10 years before I went to the Marine field, and now I'm a Marine technician. And I work on my camper for my own relaxation, and I also work on some other vehicles.
That's awesome. Well, it's so great that you're living the lifestyle, and you're able to share this with your family. And just thank you again for your time. And it's great knowing you all these years, and I really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right.
These things are like over $400, but that's my solar install. That's not a standard install. You see how you got an air gap underneath it?
Yeah. Just what are the solar panels?
Those are Lensun panels, and I buy that. I'm a dealer.
Okay.
Or the person I work for is a dealer for them, so I get them and I sell them to other campers.
Okay. And then, well, while we're here, just in kind of closing, we did a closing, but this is the upgrade that you were talking about that you did.
Yeah, this is the original fittings are kind of plastic and cheap, and well, I kind of Marinized it. These are 30 amp stainless Hubble connectors, and I modified this one for the water fill, and this one has nothing behind it, but it used to be a short city water to go in, but those are dangerous because if you have a leaky hose, you flood the whole vehicle. And this used to be the chimney for the propane fridge, which I will convert to have a fan in there to vent heat out from behind the cavity behind the fridge to make it run more efficient.
Great. Well, thank you again.
No problem.
God, it's about time this video is over. Where you going, Mike? You're leaving already? I wasn't done filming. Jeez. Ay, ay, ay. This is what happens when you go trying to film people on a vacation. They just can't get enough of you. Bye, Mike. See you downstream, buddy.